Hey guys, it's Nike. I just wanted to update the Warrior build in light of Ascended Armor coming out today. And because over the course of the past few months, since mid-October when we did the last update, I've refined a few things, and I think all the changes are for the better, especially since we're going to have Ascended Armor, which will give us some stat increases. So real quickly, I'll go into the traits, because these haven't really changed. We're still going to do 30, 25, 0, 0, 15. Still have dual wielding, still have slashing power, still have berserker's power, rending strikes, and forceful greatsword, and signet mastery. These are the bread and butter DPS builds. The only thing that's really going to change for you is if you're using Warbanner as your elite, you don't need this. You can change it to something else like Warrior Sprint or Inspiring Shouts, whichever you feel is best. But I pretty much stick with the signet. Works out better. If anyone has any questions about this trait selection, just watch one of my older videos where I go into greater detail about the traits. Just as a reminder, if you are going pure axe, to change slashing power to axe mastery and change forceful greatsword to deep strike. And also, if you're going into pure axe, as is in my written guide, which is linked below in the description, you're going to take 10 out of discipline and put it into tactics for empowered. That's going to be a net increase of DPS for a pure axe build. Because in a pure axe build, as I describe in the written guide, you don't need fast hands. So you can go with even more DPS of having empowered, which is a big change. For the utilities, pretty much going to stay the same. Signet of Rage is the default elite. For Great Justice, whichever banner the other warrior in your party isn't using, and a DPS signet. Signet of Fury, slightly better than Signet of Might in this particular build. If you have a ranger in your party who is bringing Spotter, you will want to substitute it for Signet of Might, but for the most part, Signet of Fury is going to be your go-to. And as far as healing goes, I have been converted to the healing signet. It's just way better. It's easier to keep your scholar rune buff up. It's just better, and there's really no debate anymore as far as I'm concerned. Now, gearing, I have changed a few things, as I said. First, with Ascended Armor, I have a full set now, and this would probably be what you want in this guide. We're still using scholar runes. However, the head, the chest, and the leggings are assassins. Now, the reason for this change is that if you change those from berserker to assassins, you gain exactly 64 precision. 64 precision works out to be almost exactly 3% chance to crit. The 3% chance to crit is slightly better DPS, between 0.5% and 1% better than 64 power would be, depending on which buffs you assume. I would go with this setup any day. The rest, the shoulders, the gloves, and the boots, will be berserkers. As far as weapons and trinkets go, it's still going to be berserkers. As you can see, I purchased precise infusions for all my weapons and trinkets. The extra 40 precision is not required to make this build better than full berserker. It's not required for this armor. The armor choice would still be the same whether you were using just regular agony resistance infusions or not. But the extra 2% chance to crit with the precise infusions is slightly better than what the extra power would be. Going into sigils, I have Superior Sigil of the Knight on my greatsword and my axe. My offhand mace has Superior Sigil of Battle. My offhand Warhorn, for times when I don't want to use the mace, also has Superior Sigil of Battle. I have a Ascended Sword with Superior Sigil of Energy. This is for fighting bosses like Lupicus, or the Archdiviner in Fractals, or the Dredge Suit or Ice Elemental in Fractals, where you're going to want extra dodges if you're full meleeing. the superior sigil of energy, combined with the block, makes this a much more defensive weapon, and it allows you to full melee bosses that other people would have trouble with. I maintain on me now, as you'll see, 25 stacks of Bloodlust. This is one of the big reasons why we use the Assassin's pieces and the Precision, because it gets us above the 88% base chance to crit when fully buffed. And if you're above 88% chance to crit with all your buffs, you're going to waste precision stacks. So you're better off with Bloodlust. Well, with Bloodlust, we're going to have 2654 power base. That's pretty strong. So I would get a Bloodlust set. I have the Axe and the Warhorn. This allows us to double stack, so you get your stacks twice as fast. There are situations where I want Perception. I have been in situations, like if I'm soloing in a Ra, and I'm going to use Perception stacks. So, because you won't have Perma Fury, so Perception stacks do come in handy. So I just keep a set with Perception just in case. Additionally, as I think I described in my last video, I have an Undead Slaying set. The Night Sigil in your main weapons is good for most every dungeon and Fractal. There are a few of all the new Fractals are unfortunately daytime, but there's not really, I suppose you could use a Force Sigil to be good in those as well, but I don't think it's really necessary. For most of the dungeons that people run are nighttime, and the ones that aren't nighttime are HOTW, CM, and a Ra. I don't really care about HOTW or CM enough to have a dedicated weapon to that. So I just use an Undead Slaying for a Ra. That way I'm not hurting my team. And as you see, since I don't need Agony resistance, I use the World v World infusions on these to get the extra precision. And those are much, much cheaper to make and buy than the Agony infusions with the precision. So if you're on a budget and you still want your infusions, you can get them that way. And lastly, I have a shield with superior energy. Before sword block became way better, I was using shield a lot more. I don't particularly use shield very much. There's almost no circumstances to use shield if you have a sword. So it just sits in my inventory and I don't particularly use it anymore. So what does the build look like when fully buffed? We have our Bloodlust stacks, and we'll go ahead and cast our spells. You see, with everything, we have a 93% chance to crit, which is pretty darn optimal, and that's pretty much exactly where we want to be. So you can see it's kind of a big upgrade just in base numbers from the old build. The power, like I said, is 64 power less than before, but you make up for it by being significantly higher crit chance, about 5% in total higher crit chance than the old build with the infusions and with the armor. And that works out to be much better for you mathematically in the long run. So that is the changes to the build and the upgrades. One other thing I want to touch base on, since we're talking about buffs, with the old build, stacking Perception, you'd be at 99% chance to crit when you had Fury up. What that meant was if you had, for instance, a food like Candy Dragon Roll that gave you precision, the precision was completely wasted because you're already at basically 100% chance to crit. So you didn't really gain much from using this food. I think this is the best food for Fractals, and for soloing dungeons like a Ra. So I would always use. I use this quite a bit, and it was pretty bad to have to waste the precision. Additionally, the good stuff, sweet and spicy butternut squash soup, is very expensive, and it's just cheaper to use curry butternut squash. And with this build, this food is actually better. So as you can see, I popped the good stuff, and we're up to 70% chance base. Let me wait on the cooldown for my Banner of Discipline here. Now we're up to 98% chance. So the crit chance is almost 100, and you're using cheaper food. So you're getting to the same place. You're actually about 1% chance less to crit than the old build. But your power is about 80 power higher than the old build. So it works out to be pretty good trading mathematically. I'm sure a lot of people don't care about the math and they just want an effective build. This is the way to go. And it'll be better for casual runs and also for speed runs. And again, a lot of people are going to be trying to make their armor over the next few days and weeks. And I want you guys to buy the right stuff because it's all very expensive and you don't want to have to go back and buy another set later. So please, please, please listen to me and get the Assassin's helmet, chest, and leggings for your Ascended Warrior, and you'll be good to go. Different professions and different builds are obviously going to have different optimal armors, but for this particular build, which I imagine a lot of people will be running on their warrior, this is the way to go. That's about it. If anyone has any questions, which I'm sure you will, I'll be happy to answer it for you in the comment section. Thanks much, and thanks for watching.